I'm Dr. Scott Stornetta, and I appreciate the chance to talk with both parents and students about the upcoming school year and Algebra 1 in particular. I'd like to talk about the expectations that we have for the class and the role that parents play in all of this. Most of the students have already heard me talk about the things in this presentation. And so this presentation is really intended for you, the parents, to better understand what your child will be doing, what we're trying to achieve together, and how you and I can work together to get where we want to go. You might be surprised to know that the first day of class, the first thing we do is to look at a list of the colleges that last year's graduating seniors headed to. And of course, not all of them went to college. Some of them went into the military or went directly into jobs. But the reason that we do that is that we want the incoming freshmen to understand from day one that our purpose here over the next 4 years is to prepare them so that they can be successful in both making the transition to adulthood, but specifically to be successful in college or a similar post-high school work. And to do that, in addition to teaching the mathematics in the class, we work every day on practicing 4 habits. The first is that the students learn to persist in difficult things. Now, by that, I do not mean simply continue to work all through the class period. What I mean specifically is when they encounter something that is difficult, something that is frustrating to them, something that they can't understand, learning the skills necessary to gradually learn that topic, to find a way by talking to others, by talking to the teacher, by trying a simpler version of something, to gradually overcome a problem that they at first glance do not know how to do. That value of that habit extends well beyond a mathematics class or even the classroom. And that's why we put such emphasis on it. These other 3 habits as well are similar. We talk about practicing responsibility. Of course, that's a word that I made up. There's a combination of responsibility and honesty. I tell students an example of the two is responsibility means you did your homework. Honesty means you admit that you didn't do it. We talk about increasing self-control. I often ask my students what the best kind of control in a classroom is. And we note the fact that it is better for the individual students to have enough self-control that they can direct their learning than that the teacher enforce a certain control to keep them learning. Finally, help others succeed. This last habit reinforces the fact that in college, to be successful, you need to be able to work with others. I have many students that come to me and ask why we spend so much of our in-class time working with a study partner. Couldn't they do better, they say, working on their own? Well, my response is that may be true, but one of the key things we are learning this year is how to work better with another student. And so that's why they spend almost all of their learning time in class working with a study partner. In that regard, parents, students have a great deal of say as to who their study partner is for the year. And I urge you to sit down with your child and explain to them the importance of picking a good study partner. Now, I will provide some guidance and assistance, but this is largely a student-driven activity. I also want to talk about the rules that are take place in the classroom because these are another kind of preparation for college. Because we have a number of rules, I've broken them down so that students can remember them into A, B, C, D, E, and F. Some of them aren't directly relevant to you, but a couple of them are, so let me just work through them. A is about attendance. Students are on time only if they are in class before the bell rings. Otherwise, the school policy is that I mark them as tardy. If they are tardy 3 times, they receive a Saturday detention. And there is a certain limit to the number of tardies that a student can have to even pass the class, independent of their academic standing. B stands for bathroom, not really something the parents need to deal with, unless I have a student that is excessively asking to go to the bathroom for other than medical reasons. C does involve cell phones. C does rather involve parents. It stands for cell phones and any other electronic gear. We have a simple policy in the classroom, and it is the policy of the school that we are following, and that is, if I see something out, it will go to the dean. A parent must pick it up. There are no exceptions. There are no warnings. I've explained this clearly to the students. So I would urge you to explain again to your child that there won't be any exceptions. If they have a cell phone or an iPod or something out, it will go to the dean and the parent will have to pick it up. D stands for a whole list of things that we don't want students to do that for some reason all seemed to have a D in them. We want students to dress in accordance with the dress code. That means no hats. That means no sagging pants. It means no inappropriate outfits by the women. It means no do-rags on the head. Students need to practice not disturbing other people's learning. They need to understand that they cannot simply do nothing in the classroom. They may not use derogatory language. That includes both profanity as well as anything that tends to put down another student. They must keep their work areas clean. And they may not damage property. Now that's typically not something egregious, but rather drawing on the desks or something with a pencil. Next, and this is one that again is key to parental involvement, there are essential supplies that students need to have. They need to have their own pencil pouch, their own handheld eraser, their own mechanical pencil, and their own calculator. Again, you may feel a little bit of uncertainty as to why it is that I would insist on students having a handheld eraser or a mechanical pencil. But again, it goes to the fact that students need to practice this habit of being prepared each day and no longer relying on their teacher having an extra pencil or having a spare calculator to give them. The pencil pouch is what keeps everything together. The calculator is anything in the TI 30 series. They cost about $9 or $10 at Staples. If there is a particular financial hardship, then the parent needs to talk to me about that as soon as possible. And finally, food. Only water is allowed in the classroom. That's in part because we have quite a bit of expensive equipment in the classroom, and we had some of it damaged last year because students brought in Gatorade or iced tea or something. Well, that's a lot that I've talked about, and we haven't even gotten to the math, but I hope you understand the long-term goal we have in mind in having these various rules and in practicing these various habits. It's really all about preparing your student to be ready for college and something that they need to practice on a daily basis. Let me turn now to homework and a little bit more of the math aspect of the class. There is homework every day. If your child says no homework was assigned that day, they have misunderstood what the homework is. And the reason I say that is the homework is online, and students know what they need to do to practice online each day. I don't have to give a specific assignment for them to know what to do online. It's pretty obvious how they have to progress online, and I'll be showing you that in just a minute. Again, homework is 10% of the grade. That's not a large amount, but it is absolutely crucial that students do homework every night in order for them to do well on the weekly tests, which we call games, that are each Friday. Although for some students, in one of my sections, they're each Thursday. If you have no internet at home, you need to talk with me so that we can make alternative arrangements. I had a few students last year that were in that situation, and there's certainly ways to work around it. But it is the case that every student in the class must work outside of the classroom for 15 to 20 minutes each day on the computer-based homework. If you have any questions about that or need to contact me for any reason, here's my contact information. Send me an email or send me a text message.